Okay, we're starting Be'ezrat Hashem Siman Nun Daled and Vayoel Moshe, and we're talking about the Crazy Uplacey by Rabbi Yonatan who says that if Mashiach comes on time, Eliyahu has to come first. But if he comes early, then Eliyahu doesn't have to necessarily come before, because Hashem will skip over all the steps. And by the way, this could be because, let's say it's Shabbos, right?
Yeah.
And the Yidden are Zoicha to Bias HaMashiach because they keep Shabbos.
Yeah.
Well, Eliyahu didn't come yesterday, and he couldn't have come yesterday. So this is a possible case where Hashem would skip over Eliyahu. Alright, so as far as the place, Efshel Lahavin Lashon HaShas B'Sanhedrin Daf Chaf Beis, Omar Rabbi, Kohanim Asurim Lishtois Daim Lo'olam. Now, to understand this, I think we should first look at this page 2.
Kohanim can never drink wine, is it Shalacha?
Well, we're going to see. Hold on a second. Take a look in Erevin Mem Gimel and Beis. It's page 2 of the Maamar for the previous group of Simanim. This is the Gemara that we learned before about Eliyahu coming before Bias HaMashiach. So, and the Nazir drinking wine. And it says basically, the Gemara comes out that the Nazir is allowed to drink wine on Shabbos, but he's not allowed to drink wine any other day, because maybe Mashiach will come that day.
Yom Tov too. You won't drink on Yom Tov either.
Yom Tov also, right. So here's the problem. Tosfos is going to ask a kasha like this. It says in the Gemara elsewhere that Kohanim are mutter to drink wine, even though when Mashiach comes, if the Beis Hamikdash is built today, a Kohen's not allowed to do the avodah when you drink.
Yeah.
But still, we're not choishish that he'll have to do the avodah. So what's the difference between a Nazir and a Kohen?
Right.
That's Tosfos kasha. It says top Tosfos on Mem Gimel and Beis, but also lishtois yain kol yemei hachol. The Nazir is not allowed to drink wine any day of the week. V'im toimer mai shna de lo yasrin kohen lishtois lo'olam yain. Because I'm reading the Sanhedrin. Why is a Nazir different from a Kohen? That a Kohen's not also to drink wine, like the Gemara in Sanhedrin says. Avol ma eseh. This is Rabbi talking. This is what Vayoel Moshe quoted. Rabbi said, really, Batzim Kohanim should be aser. But ma eseh, what could I do? Shet tiknasoi kilkalasoi. That his kilkul fixed him up.
What does that mean?
So this is a machlokes. Tosfos says, Pirish she'avru kama shanim shloi nivne habayis. That the kilkul, the fact that the Beis Hamikdash has not been built for so many years, fixes us up and makes us less afraid that it's going to get built today. Okay, so that's why a Kohen is allowed to drink. So if a Kohen is allowed to drink for the same exact reason, the Nazir should be allowed to drink. Because we waited already 1900 years, the Beis Hamikdash didn't get built. So okay, it's probably not going to get built today either. So Tosfos says, why over there don't we say the same thing that we say by Nazir? That it's not really aser. If Mashiach does come today, it's not aser for the Kohen to drink. It's just that he won't be able to do the avodah. Alright, fine, so take a different Kohen who didn't drink. You can't find one single Kohen, you'll find a Kohen somewhere. Or Yishan, or maybe he'll go to sleep for a little bit and sleep it off, and he'll be able to do the avodah. Okay? If Ben David comes, if Mashiach comes, over on Nazirusa, he's being over on his Nazir's vow. Okay. So now looking inside Vayoel Moshe. Omar Rabbi, Kohanim Asurim Lishtois Yain Lo'olam. Avol ma eseh shetaknosam kilkulasam. This is what we just read. Ula Rashi Zal. He brings down the Rashi in Sanhedrin has a different shot. What's this thing about the kilkul fixed them up? The kilkul fixed them up means, according to Rashi, that if a Kohen knows what mishmar he's in and what family he's from, he'll know exactly which day of the year he has to be ready to do the avodah. So then he could drink wine any other day except that day. But now that he doesn't know which day it is, so that mixes him up. He doesn't know which day he's going to have to do the avodah. So that etzem should be a kilkul, but that fixes him up. That makes it that it's like a suffix. So any day he could drink. Whereas the Kohen who knows exactly which mishmar he's from, he won't be able to drink on that day. But the Kohen who has all his family history mixed up, he'll be able to drink every day. So his kilkul fixed him up. That's how Rashi learns. Rashi Zal appears takanasim kilkulasam kilkul v'irbu seder hamishmaros. The mixture of the not knowing which mishmar you're from, shahai b'shas hachurban, that fixes him. That makes it mutter to drink. Aval Tosfos be'erev and daf mem gimel beis. The Tosfos we just read, dibur maskal v'aser, appears shu takanasim kilkulasam sha'avu kamashanim shaloi nimna bais. That many years have gone by without the Beis Hamikdash being built, and therefore you don't have to worry about it being built. V'zet tamua lichayra. We don't understand this Tosfos because the Chibishvil she'avru kama shanim v'lo nivne nismait chas v'shalom abitachon b'bias hamashiach. Just because a long time went by, we should stop.
The common Zionist argument, too much time.
Yeah, we can't wait anymore. That's not an argument. Like the Chavetz Chaim said about the marshal with the soldiers, right? There was a soldier that was waiting, finally decided to sit down, and then all of a sudden the general came, and then he was punished. And he said, I wish I would have waited a little bit more. So, just because it's a long time doesn't mean we should stop waiting. That because of that we should have a heter to drink the wine, because we should say, he's not coming today. Tosfos comes out that the reason why Cohen is different from Nazir is because you could find a different Cohen, or you could sleep a little bit. Now the Tam Zeh Hu Gam B'Gemara Sanhedrin, that reason is mentioned in Sanhedrin in reference to something else. But the Gemara should have said that reason earlier. He's saying that when Rabbi said that the reason why Rabbi's matir kohanim to drink is because takanosim kilkalosim, he shouldn't have said takanosim kilkalosim. That's not a reason, because it's a long time. He should have said because it's efshel kohen acher. You can bring a different kohen. That's what Rabbi should have said. Tosfos is answering the kasha so well that Rabbi should have used Tosfos' answer. Rabbi shouldn't say his thing of takanosim, which doesn't make sense.
Because I'm going to like this argument anyhow.
Anyway, so listen to what he's going to say. So, this reason that many years have gone by is an unbelievable reason. Now that we have the placey, we understand how these two things fit together. Move on Shapir. If we're waiting for Mashiach to come at the last possible moment, then that it's going to happen in order. First Eliyahu is going to come, and then Mashiach will come a day later. Al Kaponim the Bezdin Agadol. He doesn't have to come to all the Jewish people. He at least has to come to the Bezdin Agadol. Now we understand why the Kohen's allowed to drink wine, because the Kivan Sheyesh Shos Yom Shalim. There's a whole day left in advance. We have an advance warning of one day. So if we didn't get that advance warning, then we don't have to worry about it. Or even if he's in a different place, the Bezdin Agadol is worrying about it. They're preparing the Kohen. So he says, the Kivan Sheyesh Shos Yom Shalim B'Bias Eliyahu Ad HaGeula Yesh Zman Lishain. There's time for him to go to sleep. Or Shasham B'Bezdin Agadol, maybe there where the Bezdin Agadol is, Yachinu Eis HaKohen. They'll prepare a Kohen to do it. Eis HaKohen Acher V'Ein Chashash. That's what Tosfos means about Kohen Acher. V'Al Korach Chashashu. Narvas, what are we afraid of? B'Shvil Achishena. Maybe it will happen early. Then Eliyahu won't come first. Sha'al Shema Yavoy Pisaim. Mashiach will come all of a sudden and without any preparation. There won't be anything that Eliyahu will come first. That's what the Rabbi says, that the kilkul, the amount of time that's gone by since the Churban has fixed us up. What do you mean? Now it's already too late for Achishena. Achishena means like right away after the Churban. But now it's so many hundreds of years later. Rabbi was like 130 years after the Churban. So he's saying it's not anymore the time for Achishena. Now we know that it won't go out of order. It's not anymore Achishena.
How could Rabbi say it's not anymore the time for Achishena? He doesn't know when Be'ita is, and any time before Be'ita is Achishena.
Right, I hear. But apparently Rabbi held that after 130 years it's already not Achishena anymore. I don't know. It's a good question. We're going to talk about it more in this next paragraph. He says, it won't happen that Eliyahu won't come first. He'll for sure come first. Generations don't get better, he's saying. So if generations would get better,
then maybe Zionists who say they got a lot better, it's rather worthy of the redemption.
So this answers what you're saying. You're saying that how did Rabbi know maybe Achishena is going to be in another few hundred years? The answer is Rabbi held that if we weren't Zoicha until now, people are going downhill. We're not going to be Zoicha later either. It says Ve'en chashash oy lishtos yain mitam she'yeh efshar lishain. We're not going to ask the Kohen to drink wine. Why? Because mitam she'yeh be'efshar lishain. He'll always have a day in advance to prepare himself by sleeping, or l'hachin kohen acher, to prepare another Kohen. Okay? next paragraph is going to talk more about the exact number of years that's considered ita in Achishena. He says, now, if we learn with this placey, we'll understand why the Rambam wouldn't have arrived from Ben Koziva about Eliyahu coming before Bias HaMashiach. Because shechashvu alav mitchila, that they thought originally that Ben Koziva was Mashiach. They didn't say, oh, Eliyahu didn't come first, so he can't be Mashiach. So that's different, because Ben Koziva was very early. Karv la'churban, it was very close to the Churban. Nun Beis Shana, it was only 52 years after the Churban. So that wasn't enough for Be'ita. So it could have happened before Eliyahu came. The Gemara says there, the famous thing about 6,000 years the world's going to exist. 2,000 Toihu, 2,000 Torah, and 2,000 Yemois HaMashiach.
Yeah.
So from the year 4,000 and onwards, it's Yemois HaMashiach. And the Gemara says, when they say to Rabbim, Yatsu Mashi Yatsu, that whatever has been used up of them has been used up, and Mashiach didn't come, but it means that's this man that Mashiach could come. That's all considered Be'ita. Okay? So, when is the Churban? The Churban was in 38-28. So, from the Churban until the year 4000 was 172 years. Okay? So, he says...
That was the Achishena time?
Yeah, those 172 years were the Achishena, and after 4000 it's called Be'ita. So, he says... U'begemar Sanhedrin Daf Tzadik Zayin Shazman hu b'soif elef haravi. The Zman of Be'ita is at the beginning of 4000 and onwards. Shehu kufayin beis shana acher churban. That's 172 after the churban. Ba'ayin begemar avodah zarah daf tes. Avodah zarah daf tes brings down the same thing. But the shaila is that later on, the same gemara avodah zarah, it brings down a different Zman. About 200 or 300 years after that. So v'yesh l'hayir b'zeh harba. There's a lot of questions to ask here. V'advarim atikin. It's an old question. People have discussed it already. But we're not going to discuss it all now. But it wouldn't takashtim with Rabbi, because Rabbi was only 130 years after the Churban. He wasn't 170 years. So why is Rabbi considering it to be Be'ita already?
Be'ita is dependent on whether we behaved?
Apparently not. Be'ita, once it's Be'ita, Mashiach comes no matter what.
So what do you mean 2,000 years is Mashiach and Yatsu Ma'ashiyatsu?
I don't know. Good question. Okay. Oh, you know what it could be? It could be that before Be'ita, you have to do a lot of tshuva to get Mashiach to come. A really high madrega, like tshuva me'ahava. After Be'ita, after the year 4000, you only need a little bit of tshuva. That would have to be the shot.
But then, what happens if we do a little bit of tshuva now? Eliyahu and Novi won't have time to come.
Yeah, well, we'll have to push it off for a day, I guess. Hashem won't be mekapetz al harim. He won't jump over anything. He'll bring first Mashiach, Eliyahu, and then a day later Mashiach. All right. Anyway, we don't really know exactly how it's going to happen. So
Mashiach can't come on Shabbos because Eliyahu and Novi can't come on Friday.
But Rambam passes he could. Oh, but bisman hazeh that we're going with this placey, then he couldn't. But the problem is that the Rambam, he said already, the Rambam doesn't fit into the placey. The Rambam says that there's a machlokes chachamim whether Eliyahu comes before or after. So it has nothing to do with Be'ita or not. Okay? So L'fi Psak Halacha, it comes out, and I said over a few weeks ago that the Brisker Rav said, right? The Brisker Rav said that Mashiach will answer the kasha when he comes. People ask him, what do you mean Mashiach b'chol yom sheyavai? What about Eliyahu coming the day before? So he said, Mashiach will answer that kasha when he comes. Well, the Brisker Rav said that in the same year that the Satmar Rebbe was writing this sefer, and he was explaining that the Rambam doesn't hold of that. So the Rambam l'shitase with the Animamin, it comes out good. The Rambam holds that that Eliyahu doesn't have to come before. So b'chol yom sheyavai, anytime Mashiach could come. Kitzer. So the Rambam says in Hilchos Malachim, that the Rambam says that there's nobody knows exactly how it's going to happen. That in the time of Ben Koziva, it wasn't the time for Be'ita yet. When he says here Kimavur Gam B'Medrash, that it's the Medrash also says that Ben Koziva was early. I think he means the Medrash Shir Shirim that says that it was Dechikas HaKetz. I don't know. Okay. Imkain, Masha Chashvu Batchila, this that the Chachamim originally thought, sheyesh mitzias, that there was a possibility shehu Mashiach, hu b'derech achishena, b'li seder azman. They thought that because they thought it was an early geula. Then they didn't need Eliyahu first. That doesn't prove about the time of the Gemara when Eruvin Daf Mem Gimel was written, when it was already after that time, and then Eliyahu has to come before. All right. Rav says in the time of the Gemara that the Kates is already passed. Rav saying that Be'ita already came. So, and Ein Adav Ma'akev El Tshuva. The only thing that's stopping Mashiach from coming is Tshuva. Al Kapanim Gama Placey in his Kasha B'divrei Rambam. The Placey at least has this Kasha. We don't like his answer, but his Kasha is the same as the Rebbe's Kasha. Masha Asu Plug to Neged Gemara. The Rambam says a Machloikis about something that the Gemara says it's obvious thing. Well, Achein Kasav Sfar Mechudeshes L'chalik. The Placey says a new explanation to distinguish between Beinim Hi Be'ita or Achishena. All right. Even though it's a good sfar, now I wrote already at the end of the last Siman that this doesn't fit into the Rambam. Now, so let's sum it up. What we had in the last 4 or 5 Simanim, that the Rambam says this machlokes is about Bias Eliyahu before Mashiach. We had basically 3 possible answers. The crazy Placey's answer, he didn't like it. Then he wanted to bring in Siman Nun. He brought a Yerushalmi that says Eliyahu is going to come twice. He's going to come for Bias HaMashiach, or he's going to come for Tchias HaMesim. Let's put it that way. And it could be that the Rambam held that Yerushalmi holds he's only going to come for Tchias HaMesim, but it's not Muchach, because it could be that he'll come twice. And then also he had a possible answer that he's learning it out from Ben Kuziva, but again we didn't like that either because Ben Kuziva is only a suffix and it was only a Havamina and they rejected it. So basically all the answers we had we didn't really like. And to say that he just didn't paskin like the Gemara in Eruvin, which is true, doesn't answer the question because the Gemara is saying it like an established fact that Eliyahu will come first. So that you can't ignore even if you don't paskin like the Gemara. So the Ulai, now he says what he thinks in the end. Why did the Rambam make this machlokes? He says, Loi ratza harambam zal lahagi dea muchletis. The Rambam didn't want to go out and say a sure thing about Eliyahu is going to come before Bias HaMashiach. B'nei Bias Eliyahu, kivan she'ein bozes shum nafkamina la'alacha. Because it doesn't have any nafkamina. Because if Eliyahu doesn't come, it doesn't mean we're not going to accept Mashiach. Yeah. He says, V'soif kol soif misugi de Eruvin ein raya muchletis. From the Gemara in Eruvin, it's not 100% proof. So much. Why? Because the Rambam already showed that Gemara doesn't follow halacha. Because the Gemara is going like the Mandi Omer Safik Naziris is lahachmir, and we paskin Safik Naziris lahakel, right? And that's why the Rambam said a different shot, and why it's allowed to drink wine on Shabbos. Because maybe El Mashiach can't come because it's tchumen, whatever. So he says we don't paskin like the Gemara. So even though the Gemara says it, but in the end of the story, we don't paskin like it, so it could be that we wouldn't use that to reject a possible messianic candidate because Eliyahu didn't come first. Yeah. It's not 100% proof. When we sugi the Ben Kuziva, the thing about Ben Kuziva, it shows at least that they had a suffix about it, even though it's rejected. But at least it's a suffix. It could be the Rambam found another medrash that we don't have today that says the same thing, that Eliyahu could come after. That's why the Rambam brings them both down, to show that he's going according to all shittas. We at least have to know what's upon us to do, and not all these future things. Lo yoiser, v'adayin sarchin, so we don't know for sure. Pshat in the Rambam. V'ha'olam mikola now, shedas ha'maral hu kedas harbe rishonim. The maral that we said is not really a reliable maral, but the point is that he says something that a lot of rishonim agree to, that Eliyahu is going to come before Mashiach. Shesavri kestimas hashas be'eruvin. They hold like the Stam Gemara. V'oid kama ma'amor chazal. So we had the Ravid and Targum Yonason, Toisvis Yantiv, and we had Medrash and the Medrash and Parsha Shmois. All these things were brought down in Siman Nun. In the Pesikta, they all say Shahachrech Shiyavo Eliyahu Kodim. V'lachein Kosav Zeh. That's why the Maharal says it, the alleged Maharal says it, liyasoid chazak, as a strong foundation of our Amunah, shaloi litois begeula shel sheker, not to get swept up in a false geula, because we know Eliyahu didn't come first. Ki nireh bo Eliyahu kodim. U'ladasa Rambam nireh sheyalka panim plukta. The Rambam holds it to machlokas ve'ein zebar lachein loy kostav zeh l'siman al gula. That's why the Rambam, when he's listing the criteria for Mashiach, he doesn't list this thing. Elazeh, he only lists this one thing, sheyachzu kol Yisrael l'das ha'emes, that all the Jews will go back to following the Torah. Shezeh vaday siman baru l'chol hadeis. That's a for sure siman everyone agrees to, b'li shum plukta, without any disagreement. V'chulei al mamoidi, everyone agrees, k'masha kosav, like the Torah says, b'hilchas tshuva, like the Rambam says in Hilchas Tshuva, that what? That v'shav Hashem lokecha shvuscha, after v'shavta Hashem lokecha, first you have to do tshuva. Shemavur ba'avtachas hakra, shebavada yasu kol Yisrael tshuva koyim hagula. And that, by the way, doesn't mean before Mashiach. It means before the process of bringing us back to Eretz Yisrael. After Mashiach, could be. But for sure, Mashiach has to be part of it, or he has to happen by the time he comes, or by the time he starts the process. All right? So that's the Siman Bara that the Rambam brings, that nobody could disagree with.